I think there's some just common questions that people are asking. So first of all, I think a lot of people are asking about what's happened with regard to the interception, to the aftermath. So as we know, in the early hours of the morning, this morning, Israel Navy approached the Global Flotilla in international waters and abducted seven South Africans. On board um, there was Mandla Mandela, the grandson of Nelson Mandela. So we now have another apartheid state that has imprisoned another Mandela. He was on the Elma, which was the lead boat. That was the boat that Greta Thunberg was on, and several of the other more high-profile activists. The coordinating committee was on that boat. Fatima Hendricks is on the Amsterdam. Zahira Suma was on the Fair Lady. Riaz Mullah and Zaki Swavana, who I've spoken to quite a bit while she's been traveling towards Gaza, was on the Florida. And Caroline Shelver was on the Wahoo. Now, Caroline is actually from my neighborhood. I live in Kensington and Johannesburg. It just becomes so much more real when we have people that we know who on this flotilla. I've spoken to people like Joe Bloon, who went and was part of the legal support team. We know that very clearly that what Israel is doing is a violation of international humanitarian law. First of all, South Africa's court case where we took Israel to the International Court of Justice, they declared that it was plausible that there was a genocide happening, and they ordered that food must be, or humanitarian supplies must be given free and unhindered access into the territories. We also know that the advisory opinion of the International Criminal Court has said that there's been an illegal blockade, that there's an apartheid state, an illegal blockade that's taking place in the Gaza Strip, and that's been happening since 2007. So Israel is illegally blockading these waters. Now, in addition to that, the international humanitarian law, as well as the law that talks to the maritime law, says that humanitarian missions must not be stopped. There must be justifiable reasons if they're going to stop them, and that would be none of those reasons are met. Blocking food and medicine is a war crime. When you speak to people who are part of the legal team, they are going to report this to the International Criminal Court. As I was preparing for the interception, I spoke to a number of the flotilla members, and many of them said to me, please, when we are abducted, when we are kidnapped, make sure that we tell people to keep their eyes on Gaza. We must not let Israel turn the narrative into being about the flotilla. Yes, we need to be calling for the people on the flotilla to be released. That is one of the demands we must have. But let's keep our eyes on Gaza. There's a genocide happening. There's a siege, and we've got to make sure that we let the flotilla in. Just another question people often ask is why aid is absolutely critical and important to get into Gaza. Now, we know that the IPC has declared it a famine. It's a phase 5 famine in Gaza. We also know that the International Association of Genocide Scholars has declared that what is happening in Gaza is a genocide. We also know that Navi Pillay, our UN Commission of Inquiry, she's our very own jurist. She found Israel's committing genocide. And one of the methods that she talked about was that they're deliberately starving people. All across Gaza, we keep seeing pictures of starving people. That is why the Global Flotilla was trying to get in. They were trying to break the siege. This siege has been in place since 2007. There's been many flotilla attempts to get in. This is the largest one that we've ever had, and this included nearly 500 activists from 46 countries. They were on board ships that carried flags of governments from various countries. And when Israel went onto those ships, they violated the sovereignty of those countries. Israel must be held accountable. So what I want to ask everybody listening, watching to do is please contact anybody in government you know. Let's ask them we must amplify our activism. We've got to just amplify it in every way we can. Number one, our demands must be to end the genocide. Number two, our demands must be that a humanitarian corridor must be established and humanitarian aid must be let in. And then number three, we should be calling for the release of all of our South African citizens, but all of the global citizens that Israel has kidnapped. I just want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for having me on the show and wish you all the very best. Thanks very much.